Okay, so why did we do that? We're actually going to upload that VMDK file and we're going to attach it. So what you need to do is browse to your data store and find the folder structure where that virtual machine was created. And we'll see there's no VMDK file in here because we did not create one. So go ahead and hit upload files, and you're going to want to upload the decompressed VMDK file that you downloaded earlier. Remember, it has to be decompressed here, so make sure you get that done correctly and get that uploaded. Okay, and once that is done uploading, you'll see that VMDK file up here. So now we need to go ahead and attach it, and there's going to be a couple configuration points, so make sure you're paying attention closely here. I'm going to go back to our VM, we're going to edit it, and we're going to say add new device, existing hard disk, and we're going to browse once again for that device with one of the first thing I want to cover is I want to show you how to get Home Assistant installed as a virtual machine. Home Assistant is one of those things that I feel like is a little bit better suited to be either a separate virtual machine or even run on separate hardware. A lot of people like to run it on a Raspberry Pi. Now, I'm not a big fan of that. I'd rather it run as a virtual machine in my virtual infrastructure where I can back it up and have a little bit better control over it. But for whatever reason, it's a little tricky to get it installed in VMware. I felt the documentation was a little bit lacking on, so I just wanted to cover it and show you some of those configuration points that are essential to get that working in VMware. So let's step through that. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get a hold of the virtual machine disk. So this is going to be based on a VMDK file, and I'm going to put a link to where this lives in GitHub so that you know where to find it. But as of this video, the current version is 5.13. And what we're looking for is this HAS-OS or Home Assistant operating system. And we're looking for the OVA version. And we're looking specifically for the vmdk.xz. So XZ is a compressed file. So when you download this, depending on your operating system, you'll either need to get a tool like 7-zip or something like that if you're on Windows. Natively in macOS, this will prompt you to decompress it to its raw VMDK file after you download it. Once you get that downloaded, let's pop into our virtual environment. Let's create a new virtual machine. I'm going to call it Home Assistant OS. I'm going to give this a little bit of a generic setup.
Right now.
Up with Linux, give it the current version of Debian. Next. Okay, so for the hardware, this is where we need to make some changes. I want to give it 2 vCPUs. I want to make sure those are on a single.
You not look like garbage, please. Oh, that's 1080p. What the fuck?
A little bit of a generic setup with Linux. Give it the current version of Debian. Next.
64-bit. Okay.
So for the hardware, this is where we need to make some changes. I want to give it 2 vCPUs. I want to make sure those are on a single socket, 2 cores per socket, 1 socket. Let's give it a little more memory than
2 cores per second.
that. Let's give it 4 gigs. And then the hard disk, we're actually going to delete that. We are going to delete the SCSI controller.
Okay.
And we're going to delete the CD-ROM drive.
Okay.
Next, and finish. Okay. So why did we do that? We're actually going to upload that VMDK file and we're going to attach it. So what you need to do is browse to your data store and find the folder structure where that
Is that a hard disk? Existing hard disk? Gosh, shit, I need to upload this.
virtual machine was created. And we'll see there's no VMDK file in here because we did not create one. So go ahead and hit upload files, and you're going to want to upload the decompressed VMDK file that you downloaded earlier. Remember, it has to be decompressed here, so make sure you get that done correctly and get that uploaded. Okay, and once that is done uploading, you'll see that VMDK file up here. So now we need to go ahead and attach it, and there's going to be a couple configuration points, so make sure you're paying attention closely here. I'm going to go back to our VM, we're going to edit it, and we're going to say add new device, existing hard disk, and we're going to browse once again for that VMDK file that we just uploaded.
Thick provision lazy zeroed. No.
And we're going to make a couple changes
I don't want
to it
that.
to expand out its details. We're going to put it on virtual device node IDE 0, okay? And make sure that this one
Fuck no, I don't want that thick provisioned.
here that this one, since we deleted our CD-ROM drive, there's no IDE 01. So we want to make sure it's on IDE 00 no matter what. So if you still have a CD-ROM drive in there, delete that, save, come back in, make sure this lands on IDE 00. Okay. And next, go to the VM options tab at the top, go to boot options, expand that out, and change the firmware from BIOS to EFI. From there, you can go and hit OK, power on the VM, and let's launch its console. And there we go. So it's actually booting. So all those configuration changes are necessary to get it to boot that VMDK file properly. Now from here, you're off to a really good start. It is worth the extra effort. This takes care of installing and managing all the VMware tools that you really need to have running on here for a successful system. And it's going to do the initial setup wizard. So once it goes through here, it's going to drop you off at the familiar logon screen. So if you go find the IP address that it landed on, now we can go ahead, plug that in. Remember, it's port 8123. And there we go. So this will take care of some of its initial setup and housekeeping items that need to be done. From there, you can start to configure it. So this is really the best way. If you want to actually virtualize Home Assistant OS, I feel like this is the best way to do it.
Home Assistant at local. Ten dot eight dot ten dot. What is this sorcery? This is setting up a virtual machine for Home Assistant because I'm sick of my SD card getting corrupted. Yep, I'm hacking Putin. 4357. Game. Wow, that goes faster. The fuck? What the fuck? Why do you not let me type more than one character at a time? There we go. Oh. America? The fuck is New York? No? New York. How's it going, Buko? It's been a while. I need to make sure that my things will pass through this. That is the biggest concern. Alright, I'll be right back. Edge hardware. PCI devices. Homeless. Add another device. USB controller. Edit. Where's USB device? Save. Start the device. Or how about I just power you the fuck off? Put it down. What? Oh, down then. Edit. Add other device. USB device. Okay. Now. It's not fucking powered on. Oh, I guess it is.
But and make sure that this one here, since we deleted our CD-ROM drive, there's no IDE 01. So we want to make sure it's on IDE once again for that VMDK file that we just uploaded. There it is. Going to be a couple configuration points, so make sure you're paying attention closely here. We're going to go back to our VM. We're going to edit it, and we're going to say add new device, existing hard disk, and we're going to browse once again for that VMDK file that we just uploaded. There it is. And we're going to make a couple changes to it. So expand out its details. We're going to put it on virtual device node IDE 0. Okay. And make sure that this one here, since we deleted our CD-ROM drive, there's no IDE 01. So we want to make sure it's on IDE 00 no matter what. So if you still have a CD-ROM drive in there, delete that, save, come back in, make sure this lands on IDE 00. Okay. And next, go to the VM options tab at the top, go to boot options, expand that out, and change the firmware from BIOS to EFI. From there, you can go ahead and hit OK, power on the VM, and let's launch its console. And there we go. So it's actually booting. So all those configuration changes are necessary to get it to boot that VMDK file properly. Now from here, you're off to a really good start. It is
this one of the things works.
This takes care of installing and managing all the VMware tools that you really need to have running on here for a successful system. And it's going to do the initial setup wizard. So once it goes through here, it's going to drop you off at the familiar logon screen. So if you go find
Oh, it does work. Sweet. Oh my god, yes. So I'm going to power off this sucker. going to remake this. Delete. Create VM. Next. Debian 10, 64-bit. XI storage 2. 2 CPUs. Delete hard drive, delete SATA controller. Delete. Okay. Add. Another device. USB device. I need to go to drive.com. Go to save. System backups. 6 full backup. Download. Download anyways. Hard disk. Existing hard disk. I don't know what this means. Disk mode dependent.
Downloaded earlier. Remember, it has to be decommissioning. You'll see that VMDK file up here. So now we need to go ahead and attach it, and there's going to be a couple configuration points, so make sure you're paying attention closely here. I'm going to go back to our VM, we're going to edit it, and we're going to say add new device, existing hard disk, and we're going to browse once again for that VMDK file that we and make sure that this, and we're going to make a couple changes to it. So expand out its details. We're going to put it on virtual device node IDE 0. Okay. And make sure that this one here, since we deleted our CD-ROM drive, there's no IDE 01. So we want to make sure it's on IDE 00 no matter what. So if you still have a CD-ROM drive in there, delete that, save, come back in, make sure this lands on IDE 00. Okay.
Or
and next, go to the VM Options
gigabytes.
tab at the top, go to Boot Options, expand that out, and change the firmware from BIOS to EFI. From there, you can go and hit OK, power on the
Whether or
VM,
not-
and let's launch its console, and there we go. So it's actually booting. So all those configuration changes are necessary to get it to boot that VMDK file properly. Now from here, you're off to a really good start. It is worth the extra effort. This takes care of installing and managing all the VMware tools that you really need to have running on here for a successful system. And it's going to do the initial setup wizard. So once it goes through here, it's going to drop you off at the familiar logon screen. So if you go find the IP address that it landed on, now we can go ahead, plug that in. Remember, it's port 8123. And there we go. So this will take care of some of its initial setup and housekeeping items that need to be done. From there, you can start to configure it. So this is really the best way. If you want to actually virtualize Home Assistant OS, I feel like this is the best way to do it. Step through those extra steps, make sure you get this right, and that way you're going to have a nice stable home automation platform. That's it for this episode. Just a really quick one here. I wanted to show you how to do this part properly. So if you found this helpful, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know down in the comments what else you'd like to see. Next, we're going to be stepping through some of the other configuration points in this, like ESP Home plugin and MQTT and things like that, so that we can get some of those IoT devices connected into our Home Assistant, start talking to them, start having some fun. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.
Back to my Home Assistant right now. Setting system.
Home Assistant is a very popular home automation platform for automating your house using smart home devices. It's open source and the list of features that supports it just gets better and better over time thanks to the developers and the community that supports it. Now, one of the things that really appeals to me about Home Assistant is you can actually run it as a virtual machine. Now, what that means, for example, is, let's say a new patch comes out. If I had this installed on a Raspberry Pi and I applied that patch and it stopped working, well, I'm going to have to find a way to reinstall that system back to the state in which it was before.
The fuck they
Could
moved
involve
everything
actually
around
having
me.
to reinstall the software from scratch and then recovering the backup. But with a virtual machine, what I can actually do is, well, I just take a snapshot of the actual virtual machine before I apply the patch. If something does go wrong, I just restore back to that snapshot and everything is back to where it was before. Everything is working exactly as it did before the patch was applied. So it's much, much simpler to do. Another appeal of virtual machines is that I'm no longer dependent on the actual underlying physical computer itself. So let's say I actually purchase Home Assistant on an actual computer that's been shipped to me and that's got the actual software installed. The problem I've got is if that computer were to break, well, that's it. My home automated solution suddenly stops working. And now I'm going to have to wait until an actual new computer gets shipped out to me. I could
Okay. All right, it's doing its thing.
So let's go ahead and wide open the permissions to see if the error goes away. But sometimes when the error goes away, that's also where the problem troubleshooting stops. Or, hey, look, it works. No. We actually dealt with a very, very large company that we gave them some legal, kind of friendly legal advice to CYA, because all their buckets were with full wide open access in AWS because they couldn't figure out how to configure them with granular permissions. And no one wanted them to touch it because it would have interrupted the dev company. They were in the news eventually. Shocking, right?
It's I guess it goes without saying, if you do something stupid, it's very possible an example may be made of you. Now, maybe less so if you're a home lab person, but definitely if you're a company.
Yeah, you know about the companies that do it because especially if they're publicly traded or just large enough, you'll say, yeah, I see these companies. But our goal is to bring this home because what you don't see in the news, other than you'll see massive botnet. We heard that term because they don't want to run around, and they're not going to run around naming all the individual home labbers that left their database server exposed. But that's usually what makes up some of these botnets, is a massive amount of people who started playing with technology and did not update it, and it's left exposed. Now, I think there's a mix in the home lab crowd. There's some people who are really security conscious and focused on this, and those people are doing well. Sometimes they actually go far the other way. They lock things down so much they can't figure out why much of the internet doesn't break, because they instantly want to block privacy problems with social media companies and Google, and then they realize if you turn off access to social media companies and Google, the internet breaks a little bit. So
Yeah, that's really true. Or like me, like one time I disabled access to port 53 DNS to everything, internal and external, and nothing worked at all. So
yeah, run your own
um,
DNS servers and slowly list only the websites you want to go on to. And the goal's noble, but the reality of that is not manageable. Well, let's figure out a place to start here. And
yep.
it should start with, what services should we make public or private? I think that's probably the first question that comes up in here.
Yeah, so the answer is nothing. Moving on. Okay, I'm kidding. Actually, it depends on what you're doing. So there's going to be people out there that are running a personal blog. And in that case, you want people to read your blog. So your blog needs to be publicly accessible. But what do you do about that? Well, we'll talk about security specifics later on. I mean, you could put a proxy server in front of it, which you could argue doesn't necessarily add security, but it just adds another layer. But you might have like a web server. You need that publicly available because you want people to subscribe to your blog. But and maybe you want people to be able to access your Plex server because you want to share your video collection.
Hey, Kiana, I am migrating my. Ever pop off in a mesh and have your hand start to tingle? No. I think that's called having a heart attack. I am migrating my Home Assistant to my main server at the moment because I thought that my Raspberry Pi crashed again. That was me pissed. But it didn't. But now I have to wait for it to finish loading. Made my hands tingle. Yeah, usually my hands don't tingle. I mean, sometimes they'll get like cold. I'm good. How are you? I've been up all night. I couldn't sleep, so I'm gonna be paying for it later today. But well, that's good. You're off of work right now, right? Or at least for like a little while or something. How come? Just for taking a break or vacation or? This is my last week of working 2 full-time jobs right now, and then I go seasonal. Yes, I'm thinking that they deny it. Oh, this is nice. Well, that's kind of cool. Why does it have a question mark in front of it? Weird. If I could host all my own stuff for the stream stuff, I totally would. You panicked and accepted the break. Is it like a paid break or like just a like sabbatical type deal? Oh, your plans should have been to come out to at least Eastern Canada. Like Niagara Falls and come hang out with me. Well, there's still time, I suppose. Yeah, so you didn't have it. I just I don't know when the last time I talked to you was. I feel like it was like 2 weeks ago. But I just went skydiving again. Uh Not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. Okay, yeah, that was it. It was good. The next one I get to do is I pay a bunch of money for it 'cause I have to buy like my own equipment and stuff. Um, but I get to do it with like instructors basically showing me how to, or like just holding on to me. You glad I have my parachute open? That's low key worried. Well, no, see that was my second tandem one, so I actually didn't have to worry about the parachute. The next one that I have to deploy it, but if I don't deploy it, they have 2 people that are coaching me that deploy it for me. And then after a couple more training sessions, then you have 1 person. Oh my god, it's making me anxious thinking how long this is taking to reinstall this. Yeah, someone was a backpack. Yeah, it was not so comfortable once the parachute opened because you have like since you're on like the bottom, you have all of like the strain of all of the like both people pulling on the we call it the restraints. So I'm pretty sure I lost a testicle um after the chute opened. It just disappeared. It's like, oh, it's gone now. Hurry up and open up. I have to go to work. I really hope this works seamlessly. That makes me sad. Yeah, it made me sad at the time too. No, I'm not working, not yet. I have to go to work at around between 9 and 9:30. Yeah, I haven't slept. But it shouldn't be too hard. Actually, I have to work both of my jobs today, so but it's off season, so I don't get many calls. Sir. Shit, I should have taken a snapshot before I tried uploading the thingamabobber. See, the CPU has dropped off. So what have you been doing with your time off? Yeah, this is my last week working the 2 jobs, and then I go seasonal on it. Which means I have 2 months off basically. I don't know if I want to go back to the 2nd job because office setup season is gonna be a bitch this year because we're replacing like 2/3 of the machine of all the computers and all the offices. There's like 215 computers I have to set up, and like last year there was like 12. Scheduled a part-time job interview, like a job interview just for your time off. How do you have a That's funny. In like the same field or like just just kind of doing something random? Oh, okay. I've been there, done that. I spent exactly a year doing working at because I used to teach gymnastics, and I put in a like during like a summer I put so like in the spring I put in a application at a child care place for like extra hours during the summer while I was off from school, and I didn't have any college courses, and they didn't get back to me, and then I ended up teaching like late in the summer, almost in the fall, like it was like right before school started. Ended up teaching the director's daughter gymnastics, and she's like, "Oh my God, are you the same Matt that put an application with at our child or like our daycare facility?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "We want you to work for us." Like, and I was like, well, now I'm gonna be going to school and stuff. She's like, "I don't care. Like, we'll fit you in wherever we can." So like for that entire fall or for that entire year, I would basically go in and do like 3 hours a day, like in between classes, basically being the floating person that would like give everyone breaks. So basically I just got to nap with kids a bunch. Like that was basically just like my job would just be like watch them during their nap time. So I would be like trying to I'd like start like falling asleep to like all the like the music and stuff I have. It's like dark and cozy is in between all my classes and stuff. Yeah, except for there'd always be like one little asshole that like wouldn't want to go to bed and then would like wake up all the other kids on purpose. And you're like, ah, god damn it. I'd always work in like the 3 and 4 year olds or the 5 and 5 year olds room. Always be one of the 3 year olds. It's melatonin, yeah. A Benadryl cocktail. Benadryl colada. It must be early for you. You're on the West Coast, aren't you? What time is it for you? Jesus. Almost 6 a.m. Oh yeah, you just forgot you stayed up all night too. The sleep paralysis demon choked you. It's hot, maybe? Two, 812. Oh, we're really turned down because of it. So like I've been like I always fall asleep to like I'll put on either a podcast or an audiobook or like YouTube videos that are like basically um like I've found like long form like uh documentaries and stuff, and like my dreams will start like molding around like the docu or like the videos I have on or something, or like the sound that's on there, and it's they're like, and I don't realize it until I wake up afterwards. I'm like, oh, that's a weird dream. I was like, oh wait, it's because I was listening to something about like this or that. I was like, oh, and it's like a lot of times it's because the cat keeps on like keeping me from being like fully asleep. So she'll like come up and like start like right around like 4 o'clock in the morning. She starts to get a little antsy. She'll go from like laying right in between my legs, um, or like right on the pillow next to me to like starting to like make these kind of like not like like the kind of chirp sounds. So you're like meow, meow, meow. Like so she starts like doing that, and then like starts like pawing at my face. Right now, whatever I just did just made her go crazy. She's like, "What? What's up?" She'll start like pawing at my face, trying to get me to get up. Oh, hi, kitty. Let me unblur my background. Oh. on. Come here. Go. Need to put the camera down lower. Can't you see her? Let me have the kitty, please. There's a good kitty. Except for when she's at 4 a.m. and waking me up. And she drives me crazy sometimes. I'll be playing games and she starts playing with the microphone and starts like pawing at my microphone and knocking it away from me. Like, stop it. Oh, my apartment is a mess right now. I need to clean it up. Come on, please just work. I don't remember where my cat slept when I used to have. I thought you had a cat or two cats or something. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm getting antsy that this isn't gonna work. Not at the same time. Because this, I'm not seeing any movement on the CPU. Any movement on the I could see rewrites. Yeah, I I don't know how that all works. Like how you, cause like cats usually, if they're as long as they're young, you can usually get them to be um familiar or like comfortable around things. I don't know how it works with dogs. Dogs hair sometimes are just too high energy for me. They're just like too much in your face all the time. Like even Eve, like sometimes when I get home, like when I'm just like putting my stuff down and she just like wants to like be on me and like I'm just like sitting down for a second and she's just like crawling on top of me. I'm like, stop, I'm trying to like organize what I'm like, put away stuff and like do things, chill for like 5 minutes. I don't think that was possible. That's funny. A response from instance. Come on. Load for me, please. Okay. I may or may not still be online. I really depends on if this finishes up. Probably about like 20 minutes. I'll take a shower and get ready for work. Hey, why is this monitor off? At the power keyboard. Ooh, connection refused. That's different. Yes. Fucking worked. Oh, and I just. Oh my god, that's beautiful. Flawlessly just connected right to all my devices. That is fucking gorgeous. Your comfy wom fries? The fuck are wom fries? Oh, comfy wumphies. Okay. My comfy wumfies would be unsuitable for stream. It worked. It worked flawlessly. Fucking great. Like, I didn't even have to set up anything else. Like, I at first, like, I read the sentence kind of like in like three stages, and like, sorry, I had to get, and I just saw Wamfies, and I was like, is that like a Canadian thing? I was like, maybe it's like a snack. And then I read comfy, and then into, and I was like, oh, okay, I see now. I see what's going on. Can you quit biting at the power cables? That'd be great. Because one of these days you're gonna be like all electrocuted. Ow. Say play with my foot instead. Ow. I need to trim your claws. Ow. Your crinkle toys. Oh my god, that is so much faster. It's fucking great. I don't have to worry about every time my power goes out that it corrupts it. So happy right now. Except for if this thing crashes, I'm fucked. Because this is my router, my DNS server, now my home assistant. Oh no. Busted your TV? That sucks. Um, I get to be really obnoxious when I have power outages because I have like there's all these uninterruptible power supplies that are like battery banks for your computers, and like work was just throwing a bunch out, so I just hoarded them and like bought new batteries for them. And whenever that happens, they beep whenever they're doing shit or whenever they're like activated. So so I have 4 of them in my house or in my apartment, and so anytime the power goes out, you just hear like everything's silent, but like my house, my like apartment is still lit up, and it's like beep 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 by like times 5. Oh, 75-inch TV. Damn. Damn, girl. Look at that big TV. Almost got crushed by it. It's like my wall. Also impulsive buy. Yeah, I've been trying to. So I've been trying to put away money over these next couple, like, or these past few weeks, or past few months with all the money coming in from my having 2 jobs. But like, I keep on getting fucking like fucked over randomly, or not randomly. Like, I bought a phone that was an impulse buy ish, I wanted a new one, and so I bought that, just paid out like a upfront for it. So it was like $1,000, and then I got into an accident. I hit a curb at like but like the curb was on a bridge and made out of metal, and it just destroyed my fucking my tire and like my whole wheel. So I had to get that fixed, and I had $1,000 deductible. But now I'm putting away these next couple paychecks that I have left coming in. So I can do something fun over the summer, hopefully. It's all good. Shit happens. Ah, CPU temperature is unknown now. And the throughput on the Ethernet key on Ethernet is unknown. Oh, probably because it's not ETH0 anymore. Okay, well now that I have this set up, I should probably start getting ready for bed, or not ready for bed, ready for work. Wish I was ready for bed right now. The heck is this? Keys. Oh shit, it's because my fucking things died. Yeah, my keys are not in Henrietta. I'll stay on for a little while longer. I have like 15 minutes before I really need to actually start moving. Database is about to upgrade version 20. That's what I need to do now. Go into my router. Change. Where is it? Services, DHCP server, status, DHCP leases. Home assistant. .10.9. You are no longer .10.9. I need to unplug that real fast. I'll be right back. So you are now .10.9. Don't you be meowing at me. Oh, no, this is not the one I want to change. There we go. Save. Save. So you have any big plans coming up before you decide to go back to, or before you just do go back to work? Like any kinds of adventures or anything like that, other than work, possibly on the side? This is not working. Oh, that's right. You said that they filled the part-time. Nothing planned, huh? Well, sorry. I have nothing planned with my life, so. Was there something that you kind of like thought you were gonna do and then just didn't go through with it, and that's why? Or you just kind of like out on a whim just kind of asked for it? I don't like that that's not working. Okay, there it goes. And how long have you like what how long have you been out since? Yes, Eve? It's May 16th? Damn, that's a huge chunk of time. Canadians are just super polite like that. They're like, "Yeah, can I have some time off?" They're like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, have a have a couple months off." US would be like, "Yeah, go fuck yourself." For all these MP3s. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I'm kind of a workaholic for the most part. Like, if I don't have something to work on, I just kind of find something to work on. Like last year, when I had like a week of paid time off, and like I had to use it by the end of the year. So like I just gave myself like 3-day weekends, like for like the last month of December for December, like 3 and 4 day weekends because I really had nothing I wanted to do, like didn't really take time to come up with anything throughout the year. And then this year, like right now I hadn't take my time since by the time I go on seasonal, so they're just have to pay me out my time, which is gonna be nice because it's gonna be a fat paycheck. At least I hope. If I don't get paid out for it, I'm gonna be so pissed because my manager was like, "Yeah, you get paid out." He's like, he's never had. I'm one of the first people that he's had that's like in a full time in for his position. So I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I will probably do. I probably will pay for um the suit and getting trained more, but not exactly 100% sure what else. I'd like to go someplace. It'd be nice. Go just travel, but I don't know where to. Go to Japan. I don't have a passport. Well, I would need to get a passport. I just have my um enhanced driver's license, so I can go to Canada and Mexico. If I went someplace like that, I think I'd want somebody there. Like I'd want to go with somebody so that way they can be as awkward as I am in a place that I don't speak any of the language. So they can share in my discomfort. Yeah, one of my friends who was like a super like she's like the most like anxious person you'd ever like meet. Like she's like super uptight about like absolutely everything. She just like dropped everything and like moved to like um move like just like dropped everything and like had a bunch of savings and just went to Hawaii like permanently basically and like just like worked on a farm there and then would make earn enough money to go to like her next like adventure. She went to like England and then she went to like I have no idea because it just doesn't like fit her personality whatsoever. Um, and now she's like living in Australia and stuff. It's crazy. You'd think so, but like for me, I just imagine like you get fucked. Like she like luckily was like enough. She like found a job and stuff like where she could actually make um money and like save enough. But like, what if you got someplace and like you hated it and like you just couldn't make enough money to get out and you're just screwed? Different kind of job, is that what you're saying? So yeah, I was reading an email I got. So it seems like this message. Oh, okay. Weird. Yeah, unfortunately, that'd be a job that'd be kind of difficult for, easy for. I don't know. I don't feel like there's a bunch of I don't feel like I'm a prime candidate for that job. Already getting emails for work. Uh, Jesus Christ, people are obnoxious. It's funny because we'll get all these support tickets, but no matter like even if they have like a bunch of CCs in there, uh, whenever I reply to it, it always replies like the same to the original person. So just like blatantly, like it always just like fills in the beginning like hi, first dot last name, of like the original person. So some guy named Chris, and I'm like, hey Jaylene, are you unable to access your email? Probably it's confusing as fuck for them, but I really don't give a shit. All right, I should get in the shower. I will message you on Discord. We can keep chatting. All right. Talk to you in a bit. Yes, I have to.